Hello and welcome everyone to our panel discussion today. And with us, we have Dr. Bradly Nelson, and he is the founder and CEO of Discover Healing, the author of two best-selling energy healing books, The Emotion Code and The Body Code, and the creator of 3 advanced energy healing certification courses, certifying practitioners in the Emotion Code, the Body Code, and the Belief Code. It is a pleasure to have you here with us today. And also here we have Shima Shad Rouh, and she is the founder and CEO of Infinite Love Coaching Academy and Infinite Love Holistic Resort. And Shima has created a unique approach to coaching and therapy that combines her vast personal and professional experience with a deep understanding of the mind, body, and spirit connection. Welcome, Shima, and thank you so much for joining us today. And I am Petra Brunnbauer. I'm a well-being coach, podcast host, and the creator of the Journey Wellbeing platform. And I am here today moderating this panel discussion with Dr. Brad and Shima around the Emotion Code, the Body Code, and the Belief Code. So welcome to both of you. It's a pleasure to have you both here. And let's dive in and talk a little bit about what the Emotion Code and the Body Code and the Belief Code are so that our viewers can get a sense of what we'll be discussing today. Dr. Brad, did you want to take this one and start us off?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I have been a holistic physician now for about 35 or 36 years. And I practiced for many years, and I was always very focused on trying to understand what was really wrong with my patients. And I didn't want to band-aid them. I didn't want to give them a temporary fix. I wanted to actually figure out what was really wrong with them, why they were actually having symptoms. And I was very driven about this and really kind of obsessed with getting to the underlying causes of things. And I had been a computer programmer before I became a doctor. And what I found was that the subconscious mind within each patient knows exactly what's wrong with them. And that's how it worked for me in my practice. I learned ways to communicate with the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is it's a computer that is more powerful than we can comprehend, I believe. And to understand this, I mean, you have to think about your conscious mind. Right now, we're having this panel. We're using our conscious minds to communicate with each other. People are listening with their conscious minds. They're watching with their conscious minds. When you go to sleep at night, your conscious mind shuts down, and what's left is your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is that vastly intelligent part of you, the computer within you that is creating trillions of chemical reactions every minute and keeping your heart beating and your lungs working and keeping everything running. Well, that part of you knows exactly what's wrong with you. It knows the whole health history of your body and your life, and it knows it remembers everything you've ever done, every face you've ever seen in a crowd. Every split second of your life is recorded in that subconscious mind. And we know this because under certain circumstances, when people are having brain surgery done, they have found that if a surgeon touches an electrode to a certain part of the brain, memories will come back. It would otherwise be totally unremembered. So they're all stored away in our bodies. And what I found was there are ways to communicate with that subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is a computer, but it's almost like an alien computer to us. If you think about it, I'm sitting here, I've got a laptop, I've got a screen, and I've got a keyboard, and I can see messages on the screen, and I can use the keyboard to communicate with the computer, right? And if I have a phone, I have a screen. If it's a smartphone, I can touch things. So it's a touch screen interface. The subconscious mind has a completely different, totally alien interface for us. There's no keyboard for our bodies. We have no screen where we can see messages that are being displayed by the subconscious mind, by that internal computer. And so instead, how our subconscious minds communicate to us is through our symptoms. And so if you have migraine headaches or back pain or neck pain or knee pain or If you're dealing with depression or anxiety or phobias or panic attacks or PTSD or eating disorders or some kind of self-sabotage, or if you're diagnosed with some kind of a disease, if you're dealing with infertility or asthma or digestive disorders, or you've developed cancer or something else, all of those are messages from the subconscious mind. They're messages on the screen of the subconscious computer that there's something else going on that needs to be addressed. And so when we have a symptom like that, it should be the beginning of a dialogue with that internal computer. And that's how the emotion code and the body code and the belief code, that's the fundamental underpinning of all of these methods of healing, that the subconscious mind is a computer that is aware of every imbalance that is going on in the body. And I wrote the emotion code book first and published that in 2007. And the reason for that was because I found that the vast majority of the imbalances that were causing trouble for my patients was actually what I came to call their emotional baggage. And emotional baggage is the energy of the emotional experiences that we have gone through that were maybe kind of intense, or that we buried, that we didn't want to experience. And those emotional energies are still with us. And a trapped emotion is what we refer to these as. A trapped emotion is literally a ball of emotional energy about the size of a baseball. And these can lodge anywhere in the body, and wherever they lodge, they will distort the normal energy field and often cause physical pain. In fact, 90% of the physical pain that people experience is actually due to their emotional baggage, which is an amazing figure, but that's why I wrote the book. The emotion code in English looks like this, and the body code looks like this in English. Now, let me explain what the body code is. So first of all, the emotion code is just a very simple, easy way that enables anyone to find and get rid of their emotional baggage. It's easy enough that children can learn how to do it. People can learn the whole entire method from the book itself. Now, during the years that I was in practice, I learned an awful lot about what goes on in the body, because I was able to, communicate with the subconscious minds of my patients. And that might sound esoteric and weird, but it's actually very simple. The subconscious mind is essentially a binary computer, at least in terms of its interface. And what that means is, if you ask a question, you can ask a question out loud, for example, of a person. And if the answer from their subconscious mind is yes, their arm will be strong and you'll be able to resist your downward pressure. If the answer is no, then their arm will be weak. It's just a really simple thing. It's called kinesthetic testing or muscle testing. And so because I was a computer programmer before I became a doctor, I always had a computer there with me in my practice, in my treatment rooms. As I was working on people, I would record things that I was finding, new things. I was also very prayerful. I was looking for any information that I could find anywhere that I could find it about how I could help my patients. I was looking at ancient sources, modern sources, every source I could find. And if anything actually seemed to work, I kept that. If it didn't work, I got rid of it. But I was also prayerful. I was asking God to help me with every person that I saw. And there were times, this didn't happen very often, but there were occasions where, in response to that ask for help, information would flood into me about what to do and how to help this person. It was an amazing thing. Didn't happen very often, but it did happen. And so if you can imagine, here I am for, roughly 20 years working on patients day in, day out, cataloging everything that I'm finding. And eventually, all of those things came together into 6 different categories that look like this in the body code book. And so these are the 6 different categories of imbalances that we suffer from as human beings. And so, for example, one of those is energies. Trapped emotions are in this category, along with traumas and things like that. Another category is pathogens. Of course, we're all familiar with pathogens, viruses and bacteria, things like that. Another category is what we call circuits and systems, which is the circuitry of the body, the organs, the glands, the connections between the physical body and the spirit and so on. There are misalignments. Any tissue can misalign. That's another category. Another category is toxins. We know how we become toxic from the food we eat and so on. And then the last one is nutrition and lifestyle. Maybe you're deficient in a certain vitamin or mineral or something like that. So there's those 6 categories. Well, what happened was about a year after the Emotion Code book came out, I woke up one morning and my mind was full of instruction. And the instruction was, you need to take everything that you've learned about natural healing and put it into a self-study course that anyone can learn to make it available to everyone everywhere. And I remember thinking, are you sure about this? This sounds like it might actually take some work, right? But that instruction did not come from me. That came from above, from the higher power, from God, source energy, universe, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing, I think. And so it took a year to create the first version of the body code. Now, the body code is an app. It's called the Body Code System, and it's available, online and so on. And so that's the body code. It enables you to really, for the first time in human history that we know of, have an actual map that the subconscious mind can relate to, and that then it can communicate to you very easily what the actual imbalances are that are going on in your body. Now, this is a monumental, fundamental paradigm shift, watermark in human evolution, I believe, because, you think about it. I mean, we got these bodies long ago, and they came with no manual. They've been a mystery to us for most of human history. And now, of course, we know all about things that go on in the body. We've documented all kinds of things, but we still don't really know why it all works, right? Or what the purpose of life is, or what's really going on. But I've been able to answer those questions for myself, and I absolutely believe and know for a fact that life is divine, that we are divine beings, that these bodies actually are a temple that house our spirit, and that we lived before we came here, and we're here having this experience, and we go on after this life is over. And so it's the most amazing thing, really. It's a very sacred thing. So that's the body code in a nutshell. It enables anybody to find exactly what's really going on with them or with their mom or dad or their sister or whatever. Now, the belief code works very similarly to the body code. And the way that the belief code works is we are able, by using muscle testing, we're able to determine what the negative belief statements are that exist within a person's subconscious mind. Now, we all build up beliefs about the world around us, about other people, about ourselves. And sometimes those beliefs that we have that are held in the subconscious are correct, but oftentimes they're not. And oftentimes we end up having these subconscious beliefs that are absolutely opposed to what we consciously want. And yet, because the subconscious mind is so incredibly powerful, so much more powerful than the conscious mind, those are the things that tend to manifest for us, those negative beliefs that are held in the subconscious. And so with the belief code, we're able to actually identify those negative belief systems and actually delete those negative beliefs that are in the subconscious mind. And we're having phenomenal success. We now have certified practitioners all over the world in the belief code, and we only introduced it in October this last year. So it's just growing like wildfire, and people are having amazing results and are seeing lives change. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that overview. And I know how comprehensive the body code is as well. So there are so many things we can dive into with that. And as a practitioner and as a person using the body code, it is absolutely incredible the things that come up and what you learn about yourself and the person you're working with or your pet even. So comprehensive. Now, I'd like to go to Shima because I know that Shima uses the body code very frequently. She uses it in her practice combined with other approaches as well. Shima, do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with the body code, how you use it, and what has been your experience with your clients? What kind of things do you work on? How do you apply that?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to give a big thanks to Dr. Bradly for this amazing explanation of this body code, emotion code, and belief code in a nutshell, so we can we can send it to the patients and to the clients for better understanding. And this download that you had, that you mentioned, I had a vision. You mentioned that you connect and you channel, and all of a sudden you woke up with this mission that you need to bring this for everybody to use. And I saw that, actually, I was talking about it with Petra last week, that I have seen that a channel open over your head and all this information come and you were channeling it. I could see that vision. It's fascinating about us, how we are working and how we are channeling this information. And I'm very grateful for the acceleration in healing that your practice brought to the world, acceleration, because this is a time that we really need to heal ourselves and heal karmic bodies. And your methodology is something that can help everybody, that they can learn it at their own home. And also the practitioners can learn many people to heal spontaneously. And the results I'm experiencing is just magical, is beyond this world. And I'm every day working with patients from all different type of patients, people with some names of disease that are completely new, and I never heard about those diseases, and medical system can't do anything for them. And they come completely hopeless to, okay, if we don't find any other solution, we go to the holistic practitioners. And when they come and we use it, when we use the body code and see what it is, what is the root cause of that, and we treat it, immediately the person felt an improvement. And I have been treating all type of disease you can imagine, terminal disease, I don't know, fibromyalgia, dementia, people with cancer, but something that I never heard is spasmophilia. That was a nervous system disease in a person who had it for over 30 years. And she felt immediate improvement in one sole session for 70% back to productivity and energy is unbelievable. So awesome. One of the examples, and I would love to share with everybody because this is beyond, an old man. He had lung cancer and throat cancer, and they took away this part of his throat, and they put an apparat here that he had to press every time he wants to speak. So that developed a lot of pain on his neck. So he has a lot of pain and is completely stiff, the neck. He can't move the neck. His neck is stuck, and he's telling me, okay, I have a lot of pain. I say, okay, out of 10, 0 means nothing, and 10 means really unsupportable. How much is your pain? He says it's 12. Okay, let's have a look. And he said, also, there is another issue that I have, and that I am constantly feeling anxiety in my stomach. And due to that anxiety, I'm drinking alcohol for the past 40 years, every single day, one bottle of whiskey, very heavy alcohol. And he said, I go on 10 days, no food, only alcohol. And it was unbelievable. It was a miracle for him to be alive. And I said, okay, so let's check what is it happening in your body. And what it comes up that the mother, who passed away, of course, many years ago, she had a resentment. And the resentment was like, he received the resentment. She passed the resentment to the son, which was locked in his lung. Therefore, he had lung cancer. And we know the resentment is underlying cause of cancer, is directly related to cancer. And she passed it also to his sister, and it was stored in the clone of the sister. And he said, yes, my sister had colon cancer and she was also operated for the colon cancer. Okay, the moment we release this resentment, he starts to feel much lighter. And I asked him now, move your neck. And he's moving the neck. No pain, zero. Immediate relief of the pain, which is, he says, 12 to 0. And we said, okay, so let's have a look at the anxiety. Something happened around 40 years ago, and I was in their marriage. We removed that anxiety. I gave him 5 dead diets to reset his liver. And I said, so you don't have any more reason to drink alcohol, because if your alcohol drinking was due to anxiety, that one is removed. So he called me a month after. He did not touch alcohol. He did not have any more pain back, And now it's past a couple of months, and he's been on a checkup for his cancer, and they didn't find anything. It's unbelievable. One session can save lives. And this gentleman, he lives kind of like 3 hours far from here in a small village in the mountains. And he keeps sending a lot of patients from mountains and all the area around to come for this treatment. So I just want to say, to bring this to the awareness of our loving audience, to know the depths of this methodology and how far it can go. Now, I don't want to tell you that, okay, in one session, you're going to heal everything, because every time this is like an onion, we open a layer, another layer comes up. Your body is ready to heal itself, and maybe it requires a couple of sessions, depends on you and your subconscious programming. But yes, there is a great hope. If there is something that comes from other generation, that it wasn't your conscious intention in this life to have that disease, you can really get rid of it in one soul session. So it's amazing, this kind of results. And when I come to something that is not related to this life, when I'm treating people, and the messages, as Dr. Brad said, you just receive this intuitive guidance. And okay, so you brought them together as a chart. This intuitive guidances I received through the Akashic channeling. And a lot of this information comes because they had some other past life issues or karmic agreements or contracts or vows or different relationships. And there is what I'm using, another methodology, which is developed by myself, and I channel this methodology. Is called Shimana Quantum Code, and channeling the healing light from the 11th dimension to accelerate the healing process in the patient. When something is completely unknown to us, when something is not written in any of those charts, then how are we going to access the vows that the person did in another life? That is when we open the records and we access those information. And this is like the cloud of the computer. Every thought, every act, every intent, every word is energy, and they don't disappear like the waves of the radio waves that are around us, and we don't see them. So I was always asking myself, how can I access this information, this directory of the information, the cloud of my soul? And that cloud is called Akashic Records. And after I learned how to access the records, channel those information directly from the sources, like you need a passcode, you need vibrational key to channel those information. Then you can get all the information down, and it really accelerates the speed of healing the patient. So we can say, okay, now we know that this is coming from another life, and there was a vow because of this, and let's clean that immediately. So the result goes much, much faster. And I think all this is possible because it's based on the unique approach that Dr. Bradly brought it to the table. So all this, what we are seeing today in acceleration and the speed of healing of these patients, it's all thanks to your amazing work, that what you brought and helps create the foundation for us to go so deep and so fast and to be able to help them.
Thank you, Shima. That's wonderful to hear. What a wonderful story about, that's amazing, about the man with the throat problem that was drinking a
Yes.
bottle of whiskey every day. I mean,
For 40 years.
unbelievable. Amazing that guy
When you
is
are in
still
Marbella, I
alive.
will introduce you.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him actually. Amazing. Mm.
Yeah. I feel that this approach, like Shima said, it opens doors for people who have come to sort of the end of the line where traditional wisdom sort of ends, and a lot of them are in a position where there is no other solutions. And so we start actually diving into the mind body connection and understanding that there's more to us than just a physical body. There's more to us than just this physical shell that we're here with representing in this life. So when we recognize that there are multiple more layers, that there are energetic layers, it really changes the landscape of how we can access our healing and how quickly we can access our healing, especially for many people who for decades have struggled with issues, and they come and they take part in one session, two sessions, and they see these absolute incredible changes happening. That is because we are finally recognizing that there is more than just patching up physical symptoms when they happen. So I'm a huge fan of both the emotion code, the body code, and of course the belief code as well. So, Dr. Brad, do you have any stories for us where you are working with people on these three codes that you have channeled? And what does that look like in your practice? I know that you're retired. You retired some time ago to do this now, but do you still work with clients on a regular basis? Also, you do seminars. What does that look like in your line of work, and what do you experience?
Well, it really shifted for me a number of years ago when I left my practice in my brick and mortar practice in 2004. I never really planned on practicing again, but when I wrote the Emotion Code book, uh, when I got to the part of the book where I was telling people about where I could tell people about how you can do this at a distance with other people, I remember thinking, gee, this is a lot of people are going to think this is really weird. Should I include this or not? And so I prayed about it, and I felt really good about, yes, that should go in there. So I did. And then I thought, well, okay, people read the book, and then they're probably going to want help. And so what I did is I put a little information in the first versions of the book about how they could get a hold of me and make an appointment. And I just thought occasionally that might happen. Well, within a few months, I had a whole new practice that I hadn't really asked for, but all of a sudden, and so for 2.5 years, I was busy. I didn't work all the time, but I mean, I worked from 8 a.m. to noon, 3 days a week, and my schedule was packed, and I was booked out, and I did sessions in 20-minute increments using the body code, using the emotion code, and got great results with people actually all over the world. And it was interesting because people would call me, and I would do a session right about the time that I'm tying that session up and finishing with them. The next person would call, my phone would be lighting up. And then one day, we were going to go on vacation, and I thought, how am I going to do this? Because I've got all these people that are going to be calling me, and my schedule's booked out. I don't think I can go. So I started looking for ways to do this, and I found out that I could create a Skype number, and I could forward my office line to that number, and then I tried that. And so Monday morning of the week of this vacation, we're up in Montana. I'm sitting out behind this little cabin out in this little meadow, and I'm on the Wi-Fi. I've got my laptop there, and 8 a.m. in the morning, and my first client calls, and I'm sitting there with my headphones. They don't have any idea where I am. It doesn't matter to them. And about halfway through the morning, a deer walked into this little meadow and looked at me, and I'm talking to a client, and I'm thinking, this is unbelievable. People need to know that this is possible, and so that was really the beginning. That was the kernel that began our certification programs ultimately now, where we certify people all over the world. And so for me, after 2.5 years of doing that, I got a clear message. Okay, you're not supposed to be doing this with individuals anymore. You have to, your job is to travel the world. Your job is to speak to people all the time, get the message out about this to the world. And so, I do occasionally work on people. I try to keep my skills up, mainly with people that are, celebrities and people that are well known, that I'll be doing an interview with somebody and I'll end up working on this person or their husband or their wife or something, that kind of thing. And I don't ever charge those people for what I'm doing. It's just a fun thing that I get to do. But, like for example, yesterday, I made some notes just to give you an idea, how powerful this can be. Let me see. This was, I did a Zoom meeting in Poland. We're coming to Warsaw, Poland in June. And so I worked on, we had like 1,000 people on this call and on this Zoom webinar, but some people volunteered for me to work on. So just to give you an idea, just to show you how this can work. The first guy was a man named Hubert. He had middle back pain, constant pain up on the left side of his upper back for 10 years. Level 10, 0 to 10, 10 scale. So the maximum that you can have. And there were two things going on with him. The first thing was he had an inherited trapped emotion of fear. Now, we inherit emotional energies at conception from mom or dad, and they might have inherited some from their mom or dad, and these can go back for generations. So this emotion of fear he got from his father when he was conceived, who'd gotten it from his father when he was conceived. And it went back 11 generations to his 11th great-grandfather. When we released that fear emotion, it took the pain level down to 0, okay, from 10 to 0. And then he had one other trapped emotion of hopelessness that went back on his mother's side 20 generations. So we cleared those two. And by the time we were done, he was completely fine. The next person was a woman named Claudia. She had neck pain from an 8 to a 9. She had one trapped emotion of insecurity from age 18 and took it to a 0. The next person was a woman named Isa. She had a headache that was an 8 or a 9 for the last 2 days. What I found with her using the body code was that there was a mold energy. Release that, because everything is energy, including pathogens, and you learn all that in the body code. She had a trapped emotion of heartache that she had developed before she was conceived. Because see, of course, as we all know, we're alive before we're conceived. And there's all kinds of history that we all have, right? And so she brought that emotion of heartache into this world with her. When we released that, her headache went down to a 2 immediately, instantly. Then we found that she had a bone out of alignment at the base of her skull, the occipital bone, and that was due to a physical trauma when she was 5 or 6 years old. And she remembered what it was. The neighbor boy's father was a shoemaker. And the neighbor boy took a hammer from his dad's workshop and came over and hit her on the head with the hammer. And that created a physical trauma energy that was still there, and released that. And her pain immediately went to a 0. So there were other people that I worked on yesterday, but that's kind of how this goes. It's really amazing. And it's, I appreciate all the thanks and appreciation that people give to me, but I just work here. I'm just the instrument. This is really all about that higher power. And I have come to know for absolute certainty that God is real. And we call God by different names, but God is real. He's our Father, and he loves us. Has absolutely nothing but immense love for us that we can't even comprehend. It's so huge. And he wants us to have all the joy and all the love that we can possibly have in this life, see, and all the health too. And so I think that what's happened is he's he's aware, of all the suffering in this world and all the sickness in this world. And so he's blessed people like me and like Shima and other people that are bringing these simplified healing methods into the world, because there's so much healing that has to take place in the world, right? That we have to have methods that work and that are fast and that are easy and that aren't complicated, but that are effective. And so I'm just really, really so grateful to just be able to be one of those messengers to bring some healing into this world, because I'm telling you right now, you can feel it. The world is changing. The earth is transforming. The consciousness level of the world it's like a balloon. It's like it's stretching more and more every single day. And it's never, ever going to go back to where it was. People are waking up, and they're waking up to the reality of what's going on in this world and how this world has been under the control of dark forces, really, for a long, long time. And people are waking up and they're realizing, oh, this doesn't seem right. Why is this happening? What is really going on here? And so what we see is the earthly manifestations of these dark forces in these global organizations and states and governments and so on that want to control people and want to enslave mankind and want to prevent freedom and want to prevent liberty and want to prevent freedom of thought and freedom of expression and all of these things. And so we're at this really interesting point in the history of the world where there's this clash that's going on. There's always been a battle going on between dark and light and good and evil and so on, but it's kind of reaching a crescendo soon. So I absolutely believe and know that on the other side of this, it's going to be bumpy for a while. It's like we're coming into some real severe turbulence, but once we get to the other side of that, we're all going to have to wear really dark glasses, because it's going to be so bright and so amazing. And the world that is coming is going to be a world that is filled with love, a world where everyone is going to be manifesting from their heart unconditional love. And it's going to be the most amazing shift, and it is happening. And so these things that we're doing are part of that shift, you see, and the healing that's happening so much faster than it ever could before. That's part of this. It's just the most amazing time to be alive. I wouldn't want to be alive, I think, at any other time in the Earth's history. This is it. We have front row seats for this change that's happening.
Yeah. And Shima and I were talking about that too, right? We were talking about that change and that shift that was happening. So yeah, that's very interesting that you bring that up now, because I feel like even this year also there's already been so much shift and energy and so many changes happening. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with us as well. Now I know that that we have some questions also for you. If you're interested in answering some of the practical questions around what Shima's experiencing, and I would love to invite Shima to ask some of those really interesting and fascinating questions that she has found in her practice. And let's see what Dr. Brad's thoughts are on those.
Okay.
Thank you. First, I wanted to really express my gratitude for bringing up this shift and the message of hope for all of us, that despite all the turbulences we are experiencing right now, the new earth is coming, and what has been written in Bible as 1,000 years of peace is going to come soon. And we are going to build again Atlantis again. We are going to build it back. And this is Atlantis means heaven on earth. That's the original meaning of Atlantis. And that is what we are going to create. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on a project which is a holistic health resort and ecological village, which ultimately will be a city and is very modern, completely ecological. where we use the holistic alignment methodology, which is combination of latest scientific discoveries together with all these modalities of healing that really help people to heal fast in a very powerful energy portal here in southern Spain, and aiming to open 50 franchises, over 50 other power energy portals all over the world. So this is a dream coming to reality. And as you said, I'm really happy and excited to be during this time. And it is not easy. It is not an easy ride at all. It is a very, it requires a lot of exercise, but we have been training before coming here. And we are training along the way, constantly building up resilient to be prepared for the shift. And we can see how, how you beautifully describe how the human consciousness is shifting and how peace is reigning. And this is really beautiful. So regarding the questions, when I have one question that I would love to see, probably that can be the question of many other practitioners. Sometimes when I ask a question, some body misalignment come up. For instance, amygdala shows that there is a misalignment in the brain, in the amygdala gland. And then I go and release that, correct that misalignment. I get a yes that it has been corrected. Then I go to another body organ and we go there. And then after, I don't know, 5 minutes, again, amygdala comes out of balance. And again, we balance it and we go ahead. And again, after 10 minutes, it comes out of balance. And I wanted to know, what is the explanation for that? What is your explanation? Because for me, it's like, okay, every time I ask, have we been able to balance it? And the answer is a yes, but again goes out of balance in a couple of minutes. So I would love to hear your answer to that.
Right. Well, remember that the subconscious mind is it's not only trying to guide you to an imbalance, but it's also often trying to teach you something. Okay. And so that's one thing to kind of keep in mind, that the subconscious mind is always trying to show you something. And so, for example, let's say that you have a trapped emotion, and that trapped emotion is in your kidney. Okay. Well, the subconscious mind could probably just take you to the emotion code chart, and you could release that trapped emotion. But then you wouldn't know that it was affecting the kidney. And so the subconscious mind, if you're using the body code, will take you to the kidney first, and then to the trapped emotion, so that it can show you that this was affecting the kidney, and it wants you to know that. The subconscious mind of every individual seems to be quite benevolent and quite willing to be a teacher and instructor. It's really interesting. So that's one thing. When you have something like this that's reoccurring, okay, what can happen is, in the moment that you balance that, in this case, the amygdala, when you balance that organ or that gland or whatever it is, in that moment, if you ask, are you balanced? Are you happy now? It will be yes. But then if it comes back, and in this case, for example, if it comes back repeatedly, then there's obviously something deeper going on. And so what I like to do in that case is I like to expand my thinking. And rather than asking, rather than knocking on the front door, in other words, most of the time what happens to us is we knock on the front door. In other words, is there an imbalance that's causing the amygdala to be unhappy, for example? And by the way, of course, as you know, in the body code, we just talk to the body and we ask, you can talk to organs and glands and ask them if they're happy or not, or content or not. And that's kind of how this works. But let me explain it this way. If you ask an organ or some component of the body if it's happy, you're kind of knocking on the front door. Okay.
Mhm.
If you're asking, is there an imbalance that, that we can release that's causing you to be, discontented or whatever, that's kind of knocking on the front door. Sometimes you need to expand your thinking. And my favorite explanation that you'll be able to relate to is in Chinese medicine, actually, where what they'll do is, let's say that you've got a problem with your shoulder, and they've been using acupuncture needles and trying to fix that and have not had any results. Oftentimes, as a last resort, they'll do something called surrounding the dragon, where they'll put needles in all around the area of complaint, hoping to get lucky and fix it. And it often works, right? And in the same way, what you can do is you can ask other kinds of questions. So instead of knocking on the front door, you can maybe come around to a side window or the back door. And you might ask questions like, well, okay, is it safe for you? Is it safe for your amygdala to be healthy, to be balanced? You might get a no answer. And then that might take you in a completely different direction, see? And so the other thing that it's always a really good idea to do in a case like this is to make sure you're asking for help about this, and then just allow yourself, quiet your mind, and allow those angels around you to speak to you. Because we've actually had people see angels that have come in and have stood behind people who are doing this kind of work, especially when you ask for help from that higher power, from God or source energy, whatever you believe, then that's when the angels come in to help you. And so, but a lot of the time, our minds are so full of chatter, that we don't hear those because those messages that they send are very subtle. We might get an idea or a little bit of an impression or a thought that might come to us. And so, so that's what I would say. In a case like that, there's clearly something else is going on. And your challenge then is to allow the subconscious mind of that individual to teach you. What's it going to teach you? Where are you going to go? It'll be interesting to find out.
What you mentioned, it was very powerful, because you said go from another door and ask if it's safe for me. Because in trauma healing, usually one of the reasons that we hold the trauma is because it make me keep me safe. That's the first reason we keep the trauma. So probably there is a trauma there that keeps that person safe. And that's a very good question to ask. And when you mentioned about angelic beings, these are present in all my sessions because of the Akashic records and because of this Shimana Quantum Code. We have the team of the entire angels and guided guardian angels and ascended masters and the family lineage of the person in every session. So that's why the sessions are 90 minutes, because they have a lot to say. Sometimes the grandfather walk in and say what happened to them, and then the angels. So you see this sacred geometry of infinite love is something that I have channeled when I was channeling the book Infinite Love. And this is something to activate this Merkaba, to activate it in order to connect the pineal gland, which is the lotus flower, with the heart in the heart center. And then you will have 12 rays of light, which are 12 guardian angels. And the 16 spheres, the golden spheres, are our 16 masters, ascendant masters, that are in the form of crystals, and they would all appear around us. And then we have these chambers of healing, which are etheric. And we lay the patient over the etheric chamber. When this is activated, you lay over a bed, etheric bed, and then teleporting the patient to another dimension for healing. They run surgeries over the patient. So this is fascinating, all this learning about, I'm still channeling all this information and learning what they do. They operate real surgery on a patient. The patient is just laying down there. Later on, when I was researching for the scientific devices for the resort, I found out that Tesla had a med bed. And the med bed is designed very similar to this Merkaba, and it was surrounded by the crystals and by all these different light therapies, which has been removed from the market completely. But that
Oh
is
yeah,
what they
that's
showed me
interesting.
in the etheric chamber, where we take people to heal. We have these etheric chambers around us, which are invisible. And when we take patients there for healing, they showed me something very similar to Tesla's medbed, which is now removed completely from the market. Still, you can find some pictures on it on internet, but it says that it never existed.
Interesting. Yeah,
Very
well, nothing surprises me anymore.
But yes, thank you so much. In that particular sense, also something else come true in that particular case, that every time that I was doing some other realignment or another emotional release, that like 5 minute again down line the session,
Mhm.
this specific gland would go out of balance again. So it was balanced, but it would go out of balance. So it would say that it's required for you to keep balancing it several times. Because every time that you're working on, because now you fix that organ, it affected this organ again.
Yeah.
Until it came to a point that it was good and it was stable.
Yeah, it's it's really interesting how the body works. It's kind of like when you're talking to these organs and glands and other parts of the body, and you're asking them if they're happy or contented. Um, Sometimes what will happen if you think about yourself, for example, Shima, if you were, let's say that you're standing in the road and there's a truck that accidentally parked on your foot and you can't move, you're stuck there. Well, your foot is very unhappy. Um, if we come along and we push the truck off of your foot, your foot is now going to be happy. Um, it's going to be happy, right? Because the truck has been moved off. But actually now your foot realizes, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm kind of damaged. So a moment or two later, your foot might say, well, actually, you know what? I'm not really happy because I've got some problems here. I've been practically crushed. I need some time to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's sometimes how it is with these organs and other components of the body. So yeah, it's what we're doing is really we're teaching people another language. Really, we're teaching them the language. We're not only taking this work that we're doing and putting it in all kinds of languages all over the world, but really what we're doing is we're teaching people another language, and that's the language of the body itself, and how the subconscious mind can communicate. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's really
Fascinating.
exciting what you're
Fascinating how
doing.
much we are learning from this.
Yeah, isn't it? It's a great
Yeah.
time to be alive. Really an amazing time.
It's the University of Body Code and Emotion Code. It is a university for itself.
It is.
Every
Yeah.
time that you work with the body through these charts that amazingly you gathered and brought them together in a way that it goes to all type of different modalities of healing that we have, and they have been there forever. It really helps to accelerate the healing. I'm really happy to work with them and see this is very it's taking us.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, exciting times. Now, as we are coming to the end of our discussion, Dr. Brad, any events that you have upcoming that we can tell our viewers about? Anything that you'd like to share?
Yeah, we actually do have some events coming up. We could let's see here. If we could, I wonder if can I share my screen? I think I can.
I think you should
So let's
be
take
able
a look
to.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is on our site at discoverhealing.com/events. And so we have a belief code certification going on right now in Germany. Let's see here. Then let's see. I'm going to be at the Art of Living retreat. That's in Boone, North Carolina, to teach the emotion code. And that's April 26th through April 28th. So that's coming up really soon. This is at the Art of Living Retreat Center. This is an amazing spot in North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Great food. It's a very, it's kind of a yoga center. And so this is a great opportunity for people to come and attend this event live. I'll be doing a book signing in Boise, Idaho. That's going to be May 8th. And then on May 9th, we'll be doing a practitioner summit, actually, in Las Vegas. And so that's for our practitioners to attend. We're going to have live entertainment there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be in Warsaw, Poland for an emotion code and body code seminar the 30th of May to the 1st of June. Okay. That'll be, of course, in English. Any of these events that I'm teaching are in English if they're in a foreign country, and then we'll have local translation. I'll be doing an emotion code and body code seminar in London, England, June 8th and June 9th. There's another great one to attend. You want to get an overview of both of those methods and learn how those work live. That's a great event to come to. I'll be doing a body code seminar, and this is a 3-day seminar, so more of an in-depth seminar. Also, of course, in English, translated into German, and that's going to be in Frankfurt, Germany. Let's see here. And then I'll be in Bucharest, Romania, July 5th through the 7th for another emotion code and body code seminar. And then I'll be doing an emotion code and body code seminar in Milan, in Italy, July 12th and 13th. And then let's see here. And then I'm actually going to be in, let's see here. Let me look at my calendar. I'm going to be in Spain. We're doing an event in Spain, I believe in, let's see, Romania, Italy. Looks like I'll be, and this is not totally confirmed yet, but it looks like the 20th and 21st of July in Barcelona.
Of June.
And then it looks like the following weekend in Portugal. Okay. And probably in Lisbon. So those aren't quite confirmed yet, but they should be confirmed fairly soon. So again, our event calendar is discoverhealing.com/events. And then I'll be in Costa Rica to do a kind of a combination event with a good friend of mine, Darren Weissman, who is the founder of the Lifeline Technique. And he's going to be teaching his technique, and I'm going to be teaching the emotion code, and we're going to be in Costa Rica, and it's going to be amazing. It's a 7-day retreat, so there's going to be, free time and time to go to the ocean, and also some educational stuff, and seating's limited for that. So if any of you'd like to come to that, it's going to be really a lot of fun. So that's what I've got on the schedule for the year.
Fantastic. And we look forward to seeing you at some of those events. And we'll confirm, of course, for Spain and Portugal, what the dates are for that, to make sure that viewers can find out if they want to come join you. And I'd like to close this discussion by thanking you both for being here and sharing your wisdom with myself, with the audience, with our viewers and listeners. This has been such a fantastic insight into the emotion code, the body code, energy healing, what's happening in our world today, and so much more that we talked about. And I'd love to ask Shima, any last thoughts or insights, any last words that you'd like to share with us?
I would love to invite you to meditate and be present in your body. Whenever there is a disease coming and there is a symptom of discomfort, pain, or whatever diagnosis, instead of jumping to decision and putting your body under aggressive treatments, connect to your body and see where is that coming from and what is the message for you. Try to find out the root cause of your disease instead of just deleting the question and painting the surface. So body code, emotion code, and belief code are amazing tools that everybody can have at the comfort of their own home, and that can help and accelerate your healing process, and you can help also your loved ones. Definitely recommend you to have a look at that. And I also invite practitioners who would like to deepen their understanding from multidimensional healing to check on my website about Shimana Quantum Code practitioner and training program. Is a certificated program. You can have a look. And during this program, we are using and utilizing all this knowledge that Dr. Bradly brought to us. And thanks to him, we have it together with multidimensional healing and other type of modalities, so you can really accelerate the healing process in your patients.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And Dr. Brad, I'll leave the last words to you.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. It's been great to share this time with the two of you. And we're living in a very exciting time, as we've talked about in the world, and there are new things that are emerging, and it's important for you as a viewer or a listener to open your mind to the possibility that the way things have always been in your life don't have to be the way that things continue in your life. Healing doesn't have to take place over a long time. It can take place instantaneously. That can happen. And it's happening more and more and more all the time, all over the world for people. It's a matter of finding out what the true underlying causes of your troubles are. And the emotion code and the body code and the belief code are tools that we can use that are going to help us to get into this this millennium, this 1,000 years of peace and love and joy, unlike anything the planet's ever seen in our memory. And it's going to be an amazing time. So get ready and don't despair. If you see all the craziness going on in the world, remember that the world essentially is in labor right now. And labor, of course, I've seen my wife go through it a number of times. It appears to be quite difficult. And that's where we are right now. The earth is in labor, trying to give birth to this new world that is coming without any question whatsoever. But times are challenging. It's going to be a challenge for us to get there. But once the labor is over, we're going to forget all about all that hard stuff we went through, because the world that is going to be born is going to be a world that is going to be absolutely full of joy and things that I think, with our minds right now, I think we can't really comprehend what's coming. And it's right around the corner, I believe. So thank you for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you to our viewers and listeners. Thanks for tuning in. We'll leave you with these beautiful words, and be well, everyone.
Thank you.